Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Today is Wednesday, August 21st. It's Thursday, isn't it? What happens when you pass 40? I just had a birthday a couple of days ago. My apologies. Thank you again for joining us for today's budget planning sneak peek. Our speakers today are Randy Girouard, who is a project manager at Bradley Arant here in Birmingham, Alabama, and also Jeremy Hackney, who is Marketplace Director at Paragon for Atlanta, Georgia, out of their regional office there. And today's program is to give you some highlights about what you can expect from Randy's CLE on budget planning and eDiscovery, and also in Paragon's breakout sessions, both of which are taking place as part of our hands-on training workshop scheduled for next Thursday, August 28th. And we're very excited to announce through this webinar that we will be able to offer attendance at next Thursday's hands-on training event via WebEx Live. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the program. But with that, we're going to go ahead and hand it over to Randy and let him talk to you a little bit about budget planning and eDiscovery.
Excellent. Thanks, Melissa. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. As stated, I'm Randy Girouard, and I'm actually giving my sneak peek on budgeting live from the ILCA conference in Nashville, Tennessee. It has been a great show with a great number of interesting seminars and conversations with a lot of industry colleagues. You know, one of the things, I've had a lot of those conversations have been around the oncoming shift, and everybody agrees that there is an oncoming shift in the legal market, and everybody has their own ideas on how to survive, though the message is clear: change now or suffer the consequences later. There were many specific talking points on budgeting, mostly around software products, of course. However, there were a lot of conversations around budgeting as a business standpoint, as a tool to drive efficiency and predictability. Well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, that's a good question. And, you know, does efficiency and predictability drive better budgeting or better budgeting the other? I mean, that's a good question, and it's a topic for another day. But what I will say, though, is budgeting is a journey. It's not an event. You know, seekers of budgeting knowledge want to solve the budgeting dilemma after reading a book or hearing a conference seminar. You can't do it that way. It doesn't work. You can, however, begin the journey. I've been practicing project management and still in business process on eDiscovery projects for about 10 years now. And there are still concepts that make me better every day. So it's a building process. It's key moves. So buckle up and get ready for a long ride. So you're going to ask, what does that journey look like? Well, I mean, we're going to talk a lot about that next week, but it has to do a lot about people, a good amount of process, and some technology to accelerate things. You know, I always put technology last because, you know, technology amplifies both good and bad habits. So you want to get your people, you want to build good habits, and then you want to interject that technology. Of course, there are things you can do now that will have impact, but true improvement and real impact through and with budgeting comes from diligent efforts from you and ultimately everyone in your organization over a long period of time. We all deal with budgets on a daily basis. They're all around us. You know, you may not always think of them as budgets. You know, most of them are personal. I mean, we can manage them somewhat without much effort. The more moving parts that are involved, though, and the more you need information, a consistent system, discipline, a healthy dose of paying attention, and a great amount of caring. Sorry, a minute, give me a second. We all know and understand our national budget. You know, does anybody think for a second nobody's paying attention to it and it got that way because of that? I mean, we've all seen the tickers with the accumulated debt increasing and increasing. You know, it gets that way because our own issues on a daily basis are just more important to us. I mean, that's natural. We also feel that way because we look at such an enormous number. We are individuals, and there's not much we can do about it, so why waste the time? So right now, just there, that's two reasons that kind of give you an idea of why eDiscovery projects are difficult. First, they are complex. Second, we tend not to give them the attention they deserve. How do we get there? Was it always this way? Well, the complexity in management of eDiscovery projects has changed, and it has advanced in many ways. When I started, it was not this complex. You know, as the data grew and the technologies changed, you need more interdisciplinary people to come in, and you know, thus you're increasing the moving parts of that project. So we also have the climate changing around us. Our corporate clients aren't going to sit around and wait for us to get our act together. We're making demands. They're pushing us into those changes, and we're trying to figure that out as we go along. So let's take this one step at a time. At the hands-on event, I will convey the 3 parts to budgeting and the steps within each required to be successful. Some concepts to consider until we get there. What are we currently doing to prepare a project budget? I mean, be honest. Are we doing anything? What questions do you ask? What information do you gather, and who do you gather it from? We often don't ask the fundamental question when budgeting. What is my budget, and can I do the work within that time or cost? Are you bringing your internal and external experts to the table to help create a budget? It was interesting. One of the sessions I attended, I listened to one practice support leader state that they were called as a carpet on a project that was over budget. The case is they had never actually been told what the budget was, and now they were being told that there were 3 times over the budget that had been given. What? They were never told. They never asked. It's all our problem, and we need to solve it together. How well are you communicating on your project teams? Did you even know that you were on a project? Do you think there is room for improvement? Generally, the biggest reason initial estimates are off is because information isn't completely communicated. Yes, sometimes it's not available, but talk about it regardless. Don't try to control things by withholding information. So next, this gets into monitoring. Are we doing anything with our budgets once the projects begin? Monitoring a budget makes up the majority of time on a given project, but it is often the case that nothing gets done during this time. Why? Are we that secure in our initial guessing? Is that part of the problem? Well, if you go to the next slide. So let's picture this for a second. This is pre-launch of the Apollo 12 rocket. Mission control dialogue kind of goes like this. When I'm back, we have guidance internal, 10, 9, 8, ignition. So 0 seconds, we have Conrad liftoff. The clock's running. Conrad again at 5 seconds. I've got yaw program. 6 seconds. Beam, 6 seconds. 12 seconds, Gordon. Clear the tower. 14 seconds. Conrad, Roger. Clear the tower. I've got pitch and roll program. And this baby's really going. Now, what if the next words from mission control were, hey, great guys, you have a fun trip now, and we'll talk to you when you get back. And, we all know what happened with this whole one small step thing, but, so it all turned out right. So what would be the big deal if that's what would happen? So let's listen a little further to that dialogue. 18 seconds, Gordon, man, is it ever. 20 seconds, car, Roger, complete. I'll skip a little bit ahead here, 33 seconds, this thing moves, doesn't it? 34 seconds, car, Roger, T, there's a little pause. And then Gordon at 37 seconds. What the hell was that? 38 seconds, huh? I lost a whole bunch of stuff, I don't know. 40 seconds, turn off the buses. 42 seconds, Mark. 45 seconds, there's nothing, it's nothing. 1 minute and 2 seconds. Okay, we just lost the platform, gang. I don't know what happened here, but we had everything in the world drop out. I mean, so you get my point at this point. You know, if we would have actually dropped off and not continued in monitoring the project, you know, things might have ended up differently. If you don't monitor what is going on, once you've actually started the project, all your plans can and often will fail. So, you know, I'm going to finish at this point, kind of hit the first two, you know, preparing the budget and monitoring the budget. I will finish with these thoughts on completing your budget. Yeah, that's right. So your project is done, and you've still got work to do with your budget. This is the journey, remember. What went right? What went wrong? How do you document and transfer that knowledge to all of your future projects? How many of us actually perform a post-project review? Sit everybody down, ask them these questions, figure out how to do it differently next time, and then report back and make sure you are doing it different that way next time. If you continue viewing your projects as a single event, you will continue to struggle. So my presentation next week will go a lot deeper into these 3 phases, and I will also add some tips and tricks from my experiences. I hope to see you there.
Thanks,
Back to you,
Randy.
Melissa.
Thanks very much for that talk on budget planning on eDiscovery. Next, we're going to hand it over to Jeremy Hackney with Paragon. Again, Jeremy is Marketplace Director, and I've actually known Jeremy for about 10 years. All 3 of us have 20 years in litigation, and at least 10 of those are in the field of eDiscovery and ESI and data management. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jeremy, who's going to talk to us about what we can look forward to in Paragon's breakout sessions for the event next week.
Thank you, Melissa. What we are providing at the workshop is kind of a sales-free approach to document review platforms. As a service provider, we have a couple of different options. We have iConnected Care, and we also have capabilities relativity as an option for document review. So what we want to provide is kind of a side-by-side workshop, hands-on experience of how data behaves differently in each platform. No platform is created equally. So what we're looking for is kind of the use of same data, different outputs, how that reacts in each platform. We're looking at how we determine what the characteristics of the data set are and how to choose the right platform and how to instill and employ your service provider and use their knowledge and expertise and experience to help lead you down the right path and make sure you're making the right decision for the review platforms. And also we're going to kind of cover the analytics side of things of each platform and how to employ analytics in each step of the EDRM process and how the results are different and how to interpret those. So what we're looking for in the search results, and we'll go much further in depth, and we'll have our VP of Technology and we'll have multiple project managers here on hand to sit with you to guide you through the workshop, answer any questions that you have, and kind of show the difference in behaviors for the 2 platforms. So what we're going to kind of look at is if we're looking for search results and defensibility options, you know, how can you input the same data and get 2 different results? How does that work? A lot of that stems around the search engine. DT search is employed in both of the platforms, but they do respond differently in each of those. Certain characters pull up certain strings of certain results. We will show that kind of in live presentation mode with 2 of them. We're also looking at we're also going to look at the characteristics of a data set and how to choose the right platform. The sooner you can get your provider involved in the case to employ their knowledge and expertise, the better your options are, because they can sit and explain the pros and cons of each platform and how they respond to your data differently, and get a more in-depth view of your data before we make that determination, and not just shoot from the hip, choose a provider because they have relativity, because they have Xera, because they have a proprietary platform. Making the right choices will make your experience so much better in the review process.
And I'm going to go ahead and add to that for our audience today. I'm really excited that we're going to be able to showcase Xera and relativity at this year's hands-on event. You know, I've been in litigation for 21 years. I spent the first 12 years as a litigation paralegal. So, you know, now dealing with eDiscovery, you know, I come from more an academic background, and I look at these technologies and products in a way that if I went back to work as a paralegal, which of these tools would be the easiest for me to learn and to utilize? And, you know, what Jeremy's saying is right. I really like the idea, and I think it's what our audience needs the most is, you know, what tool best fits our needs. You know, most of us are dealing with small to mid-sized cases. We're not necessarily dealing with the best of company cases that require more advanced technology. You know, these programs can do A to Z eDiscovery, but most of us don't need that. We need a very basic tool to help manage the data, and having the opportunity to go through these breakout sessions and utilize it in that way and learn that some of these programs are exactly the right fit for the small to mid-sized cases, and to be able to work with it in a way that isn't intimidating, in a way that we understand the terminology, the platform is user-friendly. And so that's what this is designed to do. And so, you know, without giving my feel of preference for Xera or relativity, I'll just kind of leave my comments there. And did you need to go back and?
No, the analytics side of it will be a very in-depth part of the process and part of the workshop in showing how the information is resulted differently in each platform, and how to use that properly, and how to translate that information throughout the EDRM process. So we'll kind of get more in depth on that on the workshop. Really excited about the opportunity Melissa's given us to be a part of the roundtable workshop and the hands-on workshop. We're really excited to kind of show you a non-biased view and a non-pressured sales approach to choosing review platforms, and really excited to see what the feedback is and how people respond to it, and having the opportunity to have both of them right there at their fingertips. So I want to thank everyone for joining us and hearing our spiel. We look forward to meeting everybody. I want to thank Randy. Always enjoy hearing him speak. He has a lot of insight into our industry. And I want to turn it back over to Melissa now.
Thanks very much, Randy and Jeremy. So this is the agenda for the hands-on training workshop. It's next Thursday, August 28th. It's an all-day event. And I want to make it very clear to everyone that, and you know, several of you have attended our events in the past, and you can attest to this. The roundtable does not deliver a sales pitch. When we deliver content, these topics are chosen by you, our attendees. These are the topics you tell us that you want to learn about, that will help you practice law on a daily basis when dealing with eDiscovery. They're very practical. And then the way that we work with the providers, we make sure that there is not a sales pitch, there's not a demo. That's not what the roundtable is about. The roundtable is to give you the content and the necessary resources and the most appropriate network to help you navigate this, because the reality is 95% of our legal industry is in a beginner to intermediate level, and our cases are small to mid-size, and that's just simply where the majority of the need lies. And so the roundtable is designed to meet those needs. So this is our schedule. We'll, at 8:15, be talking about data security and privacy with Alex Corey. Carrie Fowler from Region Bank will talk about bring your own device policies, and she's coming from an in-house discovery counsel point of view, from your client's point of view. Then we'll have the 2 breakout sessions in the morning, and again, those are designed, the providers, when you register, the providers will set up login credentials for you as an individual, and during those breakout sessions, we'll have the opportunity to log in and they will walk you through several tasks like how to log in, how to set up a case, how to import data, how to do searches, categorize things, organize things, run reports, analytics. You're going to learn these things, and you are going to actually be the one driving by logging in to the technology yourself. That's what this is designed to do. We're very fortunate to have Judge David Waxy from the U.S. District Court of Kansas City. He will be here speaking to us on authentication. And then Randy will tie it up with speaking a more full program on budget planning, and then of course 2 more breakout sessions. And again, like I said, yesterday we made the announcement. We're very excited to let you know if you can't be here in person, we are able to offer attendance at the hands-on event via WebEx, and you can register just by going to this link here or to our homepage and register there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My name is Melissa Rogozinski. Most folks call me Rogo. If you're on this webinar, you can now call me Rogo as well, or Terry Sargent, our Business Development Manager, and either one of us are happy to answer those questions. Please consider joining us later this afternoon at 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern, and Terry Fowler from Regions Bank will talk to us about Green Rain Device, and Katie Townsend from Next Point will talk to us about how to use electronic evidence in your trial presentation. And then tomorrow, Friday morning, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, Alex Corey will talk to us about data privacy, and Logic Call will talk to us about their technology. Thanks again. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming days.